Is it too early to start talking about 2023? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Theo. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I just wanted to make a video. Even though it's October, November is right around the corner, and I can't help but start thinking about 2023 and all the books, all the series, all the authors I want to get to next year. My brain kind of works like that. I'm always sort of thinking ahead. I'm always a planner, and I've been told to just live in the present and smell the roses a little bit and focus on the now, but I can't help it. My brain kind of works like that. So as we approach the end of the year, I really wanted to share my excitement for some of the books, series, authors that I cannot wait to get to for 2023. One of the things I'm going to do in 2023 is take it a little bit easy with the structured TBRs and the read-alongs and the buddy reads and all that stuff. I do have a few planned. Don't get me wrong. 12 months is a long time. 1 year is a long time. I can fit a few of those in, but I'm going to take a step back from those a little bit and read more of what I want when I want. I am a little bit of a mood reader, and I don't have time to read like 15 books a month. So I have to be a little bit more choosy with what I'm reading. And I think I'm going to give into that mood reading urge a little bit more. Some of these are in fact buddy reads and read-alongs, but there's a few of them, and the rest of them are going to be just other series, books, authors that I can't wait to get to in 2023. And I still have room to fit in a bunch of other stuff that I want. By no means is this an exhaustive list of what I'm going to read next year. These are just the ones that I really want to either get to or get back to, and the ones that get me most excited for next year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. The first one on the list is one that I'm probably the most excited about. It's one that I've wanted to read forever. I'm almost embarrassed being on here as a booktuber, not having read it. You know what? You can only experience things for the first time once. And so I'm thrilled to be participating in the read along with Joanna, and I think Jolene reads, and a couple other. It's actually become quite a large read along. And that is starting January, we're going to be doing A Song of Ice and Fire, starting with A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I can't wait for this one, you guys. It's shocking how many people consider this their most favorite fantasy series of all time, considering the fact that it's not even finished. I mean, I think we have 5 out of the 7 planned books, 6 out of 8. I can't remember, but it's amazing. Everybody recommends this to me. People go back and reread these. Again, it's mind-boggling to me that there's no ending, there's no conclusion, but it's still worth the journey of reading through them. So that's what I get from it. That's what people tell me is the journey is absolutely worth it. Just go and read them as soon as you can. So starting January, Song of Ice and Fire, starting with Game of Thrones, cannot wait. And it'll be fun to do it in a read along for this particular one, because there's so many people that are veterans, so many people that understand, Westeros and A Song of Ice and Fire, like worlds and characters and stuff so much that it's just going to be really valuable to read it alongside people that just know the ins and outs and stuff. So that's exciting and kicking off 2023. Also in 2023, some of you may already know that I've referred to this book in a book haul as my Sexy Shogun edition. And I can't wait to join Alex from Tall Guy Reads, my good friend, and a bunch of other people, it seems, for a Shogun read along. I believe Joanna might join me on this. Alan might join me on this. The caveat to that is that a lot of us can't commit to fitting this huge, chunky 1,000+ page book, I think, in the month of January alone. We have a bunch of other stuff. I've already mentioned what I've started January with. And so in an effort to not get bogged down with read alongs and buddy reads or have too much pressure on ourselves, I think we're just going to start this in January. A lot of people are going to finish them. Some people aren't going to finish it. And that's okay. This will trickle over into February probably. And Alan really wanted us to continue with a book that he really enjoyed, which is chronologically the next one in this, which is Taipan. And a lot of people read Shogun and kind of stop. And he's urging us to continue with Taipan. So I promised him, if he joins with this, I would at least read that next book. I don't think it's not, like I said, it's not the published one that comes next, but it's in chronological order, the next one. I believe Shogun was the 3rd published out of that 6 Asian saga book set, but it chronologically is the 1st. So we're going to start with Shogun, maybe do Taipan if we all kind of continue. And very excited. Sexy Shogun, boom, January 2023. The next one is one that I wish I could drop everything and just read right now, but I do have a couple books and series that I want to finish the year off with. so I can't. But very quickly at the beginning of next year, at some point, I'm going to drop everything at that point and read The Live Ship Traders by Robin Hobb. This is the second trilogy, comes after the Farseer trilogy in the Realm of the Elderlings, which is like a 16-book series. And I have heard so much praise for this book. I've heard every series within the main series, like every little, I think it's split up into trilogies actually. So every trilogy continues to get better. There's some that like one more than the other, whatever. There's a few that fall short for some people, but within this large series, this one is supposed to be very, very good. So I think the first book, if I'm not mistaken, is this one, Ship of Magic, then there's Ship of Destiny, and then Mad Ship. So I have all three, these beautiful UK ones, and I can't wait to get to this. A lot of people that I trust and respect and enjoy reading with just rave about these books. So I can't wait to pick this up next year, 100% a priority. And if I can, I'm going to run through this trilogy and then continue reading on with the Realm of the Elderlings, at least read one more of her trilogies kind of after that. And I don't know when the Rainwild Chronicles come, but if the Rainwild Chronicles comes after these ones, I'm probably going to read the next series after that as well, because I don't want to end the year off with, the Rainwild Chronicles. That is the one that is sort of least preferred by people that I share the same taste with. I have to read it, and it's definitely important. And I think it's actually, if you like Robin Hobb, you're going to be just fine. It's just one of the less preferred out of a magnificent 16 books. So definitely Live Ship Traders, priority for 2023. The next one is also one that I want to try and get to next year. And this one is by an author who I think is a really good guy. I've engaged with him briefly here and there. He's on BookTube as well. You guys probably know him. I'm going to link his channel in the description below. But basically this one is one that's been compared to like a grimdark Faithful and the Fallen. And Faithful and the Fallen, if you know me, is one of my favorite series. I love John Gwynne. I love that quartet. And so I can't wait to start the 5 Warrior Angels trilogy with The Forgetting Moon. I believe we get the third book in November or December. I'm not quite sure. A lot of people are doing rereads of this one. A lot of my friends love this book. So I'm just curious. I really want to pick up at least the first one and see how I vibe with the writing and the story. And I love books about, prophecies. And I like the way that apparently he weaves in sort of his own religion in here very impressively, because that's very hard to do probably. This is another one I want to prioritize as much as I can, at least read the first one and kind of see where I fall. I haven't really heard a lot of people not mesh with it. I think people that, people whose tastes align with mine and like the same sort of books, authors, series, whatever, as I do, they quite enjoy this one. So Patrick just put out a video on it not too long ago. And so yeah, everyone's got me thinking about this one. So again, 2023, as much as I can. Forgetting Moon by Brian Lee Durfee. I also want to start to add in more thrillers and like mysteries and things like that. I really like thrillers, but I've been so focused on fantasy and a little bit of sci-fi and stuff that I haven't really fit a whole lot of those in. So next year I want to try and prioritize a series that it's been on my radar for a long time. And my buddy Josh, Red Fury Books, I'll leave a link to his channel. Wonderful channel, by the way, down in the description. He reads so many different genres, and he has such amazing videos for recommendations across the board, all different genres, classics, historical fiction, contemporary fiction, sci-fi, fantasy, thrillers, whatever. This is one of his favorite series by one of his favorite authors, and that is the Harry Bosch books by Michael Connelly. I really want to read these ones. I have the first book. I believe it's called The Black Echo or Black Echo, and it's been on my radar for so long. And I'm getting into switching genres more often when I get into a little bit of a burnout or a slump or whatever. I just released a video on what I do to kind of, remedy that. And there's 10 tips on that video that you can check out that kind of help with that. And one is to switch genres, and one is to, pick something up out of your comfort zone. And I don't think this is out of my comfort zone, but it's definitely a different genre that I want to read more of. And these books seem awesome. Apparently, this author, hits it out of the park with every book. If you like the first book or second book or whatever, chances are you'll like all of them. He's very, very consistent. That's the word I hear a lot with this author. Very, very consistent. They also seem short and easy enough to read, easy enough to fit into my schedule. I have the audiobooks are really easy to find. I have a bunch of them already. So yeah, Harry Bosch by Michael Connelly. That is one that is definitely going to be read at some point next year as a priority. Speaking of series, this is one by an author I just discovered this year. He's been around forever. A lot of people love him, but I read a book by him for the first time this year, and that was Swan Song by Robert McCammon. He has what I believe to be a historical fiction, maybe historical fantasy kind of series. Maybe you guys can correct me on that. I'm going to tag my buddy Scott, the bald booktuber, to jump in and see if he can't correct me. But this is the Matthew Corbett series by Robert McCammon. From what I can tell, I just picked up a quick little blurb here, but it's a historical fiction series about a young professional problem solver in the American colonies at the turn of the 18th century. So I think it's like late 1600s, if I'm not mistaken. This one is one that apparently is very good. I just don't know if it's the typical stuff I would read, but I loved Robert McCammon's writing. I loved Swan Song so much. I want to read more of Robert McCammon. I'm getting more into historical fiction, but this is not really the type of historical fiction that I would reach for. So I fell in love with Robert McCammon's writing. Again, I've only read Swan Song, but man, that's a pretty well-known book. And if he writes like that in most of his books, I think I'll be a fan. The next one I'm going to read by him is Boy's Life. We can go ahead and throw that on the list because I know for sure I'm going to read Boy's Life very, very soon. It was gifted to me by Alex at Tall Guy Reads, which I appreciate so much. And I can't wait to read that one. So this series by Robert McCammon, the Matthew Corbett books, I'm going to do a little more research on those, but that is one that I've been thinking about picking up next year as much as I can prioritize, I think. So yeah, that's another one. The next series is one that I don't really know why I stopped in the first place. It's one of those things, like it's very much like comfort food. You can just reach back for it anytime, jump back into the stories, the characters as it progresses, and you can get right back into it pretty easily. That one is Dresden. I've been on kind of a break with the Dresden Files, and it's a little bit to my advantage because I know that we're not going to be expecting more Dresden books anytime soon. I mean, I know he released one, I think, recently, but aside from that, there's not going to be a whole lot in the next, I think, year or so. So that'll give me a chance to catch up. I love the Dresden Files. By no means was it, did I take a break because I wasn't meshing with it. I loved it. I think the next one that I have would be book 10. So I'm really at the part where I'm right immersed in it. Like I'm really enjoying my time. I went through books 3, 4, 5. They kept getting better for me, and I love the world. I love the characters. The audiobooks are incredible, done by James Marsters, who played Spike in Buffy. Obviously, you guys know that. And so I can't wait to get back to Dresden. So Dresden is one on audio that I'm going to read exclusively on audio because I love them and I have them. And I'm going to fit those in as I read my other books and my other series whenever I need an audiobook to keep me going, or if I want to change a pace, or if I just want to kind of get back to Harry. I'll throw those on. So I've taken a bit of a break in the last probably quarter of this year for some reason, not quite sure, but at least I have them to go back to. So I can't wait. The Dresden series is definitely one that I want to prioritize for 2023. And if I can't finish it all next year, I'll read 2, 3, 4 of them. And that way, even if I don't finish them, I have a couple to fall back on if we're going to end up with a Jim Butcher withdrawal at some point. So yeah, Dresden. The next 2 series involve something I don't do a whole lot, and I'll continue. I'll probably do more of this in the future, but I haven't really done a whole lot up to now, and that is rereading. I'm going to do 2 rereads next year. One is one that I alluded to earlier, and that is one of my favorite series of all time, one that really made me fall back in love with fantasy, along with a couple other books, and that is The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. I'm going to reread these with a couple pals. I think RJ is going to read it with me. A couple other people, forgive me if I've forgotten you, but a couple other people mentioned they want to jump on it, but this one is going to be just on audio. I've read them physically. I own the paperbacks. I own the ebooks as well as the audiobooks. So this one is one that I'm just going to read through and listen to on audio and just kind of breeze through them because they're so enjoyable. I already kind of know the story. I want to refresh myself on some of the characters in the world and get some of those vibes back from this story that I loved so much. So next year, I'm going to be rereading on audio Faithful and the Fallen. The next and final one is a series that is beloved by many, really important to me growing up, and my wife is a huge fan, and a couple friends of mine and I are going to read this together. It's going to be a reread for all of us. And a friend of mine recently got a beautiful illustrated edition of, I think, a few of these books, and that is the Harry Potter series. This is just to introduce a little bit of magic, a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of comfort into my schedule for next year. And for some reason, I've just had kind of the itch. And it turns out when I mentioned that to a few people, a bunch of people felt the same way. So a lot of us are going to end up reading it together. I'm sure I'm probably going to do this on audio, to be honest with you. Jim Dale does the audiobooks that I listened to probably 2 years ago or so, and they were incredible. Jim Dale is excellent, but I know that Stephen Fry also has done the audio for these, and he's excellent as well. So I think I'm going to try Stephen Fry for maybe, the first book and see how I like that. And if it doesn't work, I'll go back to the Jim Dale, and I can always reread them physically because I have them. But this is another one, comfort food. I'm just going to slot those in when I can on audio, very quickly breeze through them, and just enjoy some of that, like I said, nostalgia that I missed from these books. So those are kind of the top of mind, top priority, really want to get to in 2023, and leaves plenty of room for other stuff, other buddy reads. I'm going to take it easy on those again, because, you can just get so consumed that you don't have a whole lot of room to mood read, which turns out I am kind of a mood reader. So, I'm just going to kind of go with the flow. These are the ones that are, pretty much the priority. And then again, I'm just going to read whatever I want, whenever I want, if I can fit it in. So curious, guys, what you guys are reading next year. Is there anything that you really want to get to by the end of this year? Anything you're prioritizing for next year? Any huge read along plans you guys have going on? Let me know in the comments. Curious what you guys are up to, what you're reading, what you're enjoying. I'll talk to you guys real soon. Thank you for all the support. Catch you on the next one.